You're listening to the official podcast of Bloodstock Open Air Festival. Bloodstock Radio.
Yes, hello, good evening, and welcome to Bloodstock Radio, the official podcast of the Bloodstock Open Air Festival. My name is Squatter. This is podcast number 52, and we have a lot to get through tonight. As with the festival now just 5 weeks away, we've had another 3 Metal to the Masses finals at the weekend, so we'll be hearing music from and interviews with all 3 of those successful bands tonight. Plus, we will also have another overseas interview from our roving reporter Lena Metalina later in the show, who will be talking to a metal band from Iraq. But let's start off the show with a couple of successful Metal to the Masses bands. On Friday at the Bullingdon in Oxford, Mr. Simon Hall decided that it would be Imminent Annihilation who would be playing on the New Blood stage, and the following night Mr. Adam Westgate decided that Garshcott would be joining them to represent Northamptonshire. So let's hear from both of those, and we'll start off in Oxford.
And now on Bloodstock Radio. A Bloodstock Metal to the Masses tour update.
Okay, next up on Bloodstock Radio, we are talking to the latest Metal to the Masses finalist, and last weekend in Oxford we had Imminent Annihilation, and we are talking to Jordan. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, how are you?
I'm very well, sweltering hot, the same as everybody else, but yeah, as long as it keeps up like this for Bloodstock, we're not going to complain, are we?
Exactly.
Cool. So, you've had a few days for it to sink in now. You're going to be playing at Bloodstock, so how's that feeling?
Well, it hasn't really sunk in at all, to be honest. We were just happy to get to the final. We joined the competition just to kind of see where we would end up, with no real kind of like hope of winning. And as things progressively, like, as we're going through our heats and we got progressively further, we were on the basis of we just want to make it to the final, and we're just happy with that. And then they announced that we won, and a lot of shock.
Yeah. So is it the first time you've entered Metal to the Masses then?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay, so so obviously, was it just to get more gigs? Was it just to sort of up your game, or what was the main impetus behind getting involved?
Well, I mean, I've been going to Bloodstock since 2013, so I've always wanted to have the opportunity to play there. But we've only really been kind of doing the band kind of semi-seriously. But within the last year, we decided, well, it's either we have a crack at it, a proper crack at it, or we might as well just not really do it. So we started to take it more seriously, and one of the things we decided to do was Metal to the Masses to see whether we could get there, really.
Yeah. And do you think that has made you up your game as a band, really? Because obviously we don't really like it being a competition. If we could take the competition element out of it, then we would do. But do you find that as you've sort of gone on, it's sort of made you tighten up a little bit and just pushed you that little bit more?
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's like, the way we run our set, the way we present ourselves on stage, like, we have now like our own little light shows and all that kind of stuff. And we had songs that were in the set before Metal to the Masses, which we were like, well, those songs are a bit weak, so we then removed them and put new songs in, and they worked really well. So, it was kind of a bit of a learning curve for us.
Cool. Excellent. Sounds good. Well, tell us a bit about your band anyway. What type of music do you play? How many of you are in the band, and how long you've been going for and that?
Well, the band started back in 2011. And it was originally a metalcore band. And then when we got our drummer in, current drummer Harry, he was very much into kind of death metal and black metal, and he has a lot of talent with that kind of style of drumming. So we kind of started venturing into that kind of genre. Over the years, our guitarist, who's one of the main songwriters, Connor, he's fallen in love with stuff like Gents, the bands like Meshuggah and Periphery and all that kind of stuff he fell in love with. So he's kind of bringing in more aspects like that. And me and Harry are very much still in the kind of the death metal camp. So it's kind of an odd mixture of genres where we'll have death metal elements and gent elements and tech elements all rolled into one.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Sounds like a good mixture, and obviously we got a really good mix of genres going through from the Metal to the Masses finals this year. So I think that should go down well with a certain percentage of our viewers there, anyway. So okay, so just tell us a little bit about the actual the heats, the final, and things like that. How they actually all went at the Bullingdon, because I went to the final there last year and it was really good. I couldn't make it this weekend, unfortunately, but how did that go?
Yeah, it was great. It was nerve-wracking from a musician's point of view, but as a fan of music, it was such a strong lineup. Every single band there deserved to be there, and in my opinion, deserved to get the opportunity to play at Bloodstock. It is a shame that it was a competition because, I would have been able to enjoy it more, just seeing bands that I've watched and I've played with through the heats and learned to love and kind of really got along with. And yeah, it was just really, really good. I mean, every band brought their A game, and everybody deserved to really go through. The heats were definitely always great as well. So yeah, I mean, this year was just a really strong year, I think, especially for Oxford's Metal to the Masses. I mean, you couldn't really tell who was going to win it until it was announced by Simon. So
yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. So, and also you've touched on it there as well about the sort of bonding of the bands, as we like to call it, rather than the battle of the bands. You do sort of make friends along the way, and you are supportive of each other. And we see bands that get knocked out but still keep on coming back and then supporting their mates in the final and right the way through it. And that obviously seems to be the case at Oxford as well.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. It's kind of, I mean, we're very new to the Oxford scene. I mean, I live in Oxford myself, but we're from a different town. So when we first started playing in Oxford, we were very much unknown, and we didn't know any Oxford local bands. But now we have a list of local Oxford bands that we want to gig with, and they want to gig with us. So it's given us good opportunities in networking with loads of other musicians.
Cool, excellent. That sounds good. So, yes, obviously you mentioned that you've been to Bloodstock before as well. Then, so obviously you're going to be going and playing there this year. Are there any bands that are on the bill that you're hoping you're not going to clash with that you particularly want to be seeing at Bloodstock this year?
I mean, obviously bands like Gojira, Devil Driver, and Fozzy. I love a bit of Fozzy, but I used to be a wrestling fan, so Chris Jericho has always got a special place in my heart. And there's a few bands on the Sophie stage that I want to go see, but bands like Bloodbath and Ailstorm, they're always good fun as well. So, but it's less of whether we clash with them, so I can't see them, as whether we clash with them. So my mates are going to be there; they're going to have the difficult decision because I don't really have much of a choice in the matter. So
yeah, that's a good point actually. But I'm sure you'll get a good crowd in the New Blood as well. So let's have a listen to some of your music anyway. So cheers for talking to us, and congratulations on getting to Bloodstock. And you can introduce a song. Interesting title. Tell us a little bit about that. Human Culling Farm sounds a little bit serious.
Yes, well, I mean, I was listening to a lot of Cow Decapitation when I started writing the lyrics for this track, or when I wrote this track, and they are very kind of profound titles like that, and I kind of went on inspiration from that, and I thought, well, what's something that kind of encapsulates what I'm trying to say in the song? And our drummer just said, it sounds like some sort of culling farm, so I just was like, okay, culling farm, stick human in front of it, because that's kind of the point of the song, so...
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, if you can introduce that for us then, and we'll have a listen to that, and we'll see you at Bloodstock.
Awesome. Thank you very much, mate. I'm Jordan, lead singer of Imminent Annihilation, and you're listening to Human Culling Farm.
The sea has been paid, the cluster remains. It's now
Okay, next up on Bloodstock Radio, we are talking to the next of our Metal to the Masses winners, and in Northamptonshire at the weekend, it was Goshcott. How you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm very, very well indeed. So, yes, congratulations, you're going to Bloodstock. Has it sunk in yet? Are you still all getting used to the idea?
Just looking forward to it, yeah.
Mind blowing, really.
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously, I was at the final last year when you guys narrowly missed out. So it was great to see your names back in the final this year, and to make that final step and to actually make it to Bloodstock.
We don't give up that easy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So you obviously saw that as a learning curve, and you obviously saw enough in the competition. So what was it that sort of made you come back and give it another go?
I think partly it was because we did just miss out last time, and we thought we'd give it another go to see how far we get this time, really.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant opportunity as well, so we wanted to see if we could take full advantage of it.
And our support has grown massively over the past year, especially around Northampton. The amount of shows we've been doing up there. And it was great to see all our friends come out and watch us play as well. That's great.
There are actually quite a few people who asked us to go back into it as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just us thinking, oh, we'll give it another go. People saying, okay, you've got to do this year again.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's good that you've got that support around you as well. And that the other thing I would also say is that we often get bands that sort of narrowly miss out one year and then next year, and they're actually sort of thinking, well, actually, we'd much rather play now as we are as a band with that extra year of gigging under our belt. We're a better representation now than what we were a year ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we've grown so much in the past year anyway, so we decided it was definitely a good idea to give it a good shot.
We're quite glad that we didn't do it last year now.
With the experience of going into the studio with Neil Hudson as well, I mean, we learned so much from him and we took that away. And we used to watch the videos from our past gigs and was looking at where we can improve our stage presence and everything else. So I think we really gone for it. Yeah, come a long way. I think
a lot of people have said the same thing as well. So there are a lot of comments at the final which were quite flattering, really.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I must admit, shame I couldn't make it to the final this weekend. I was there on Friday night for the Hop Fest over the weekend, as they called it. But unfortunately, I wasn't there. But I did hear that it was a very good event and very well attended. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Definitely, 100%.
You missed a good day.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So rewind a little bit, then tell our listeners a little bit about the band, what type of music that you play, how long you guys have been going for, and stuff like that.
We've been going for a good couple of years now. We started off, well, there was just three of us originally, and then we took on my brother, who was originally with us, and then he left, and then we took on Adam, and then he learned a set in record time. We started a couple of shows with him, helped to get a guy on board as well, and yeah, we just started growing from there.
It started off quite basic, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
We didn't really know what kind of shape it was going to take. And then sort of the few shows in, we made some mistakes. We came back from them, picked ourselves back up, and we've crafted something we think is quite original out of it.
Yeah. We've all got different influences as well. We've got anywhere from Lamb of God up to Alterbridge. So the scale, what we all like, is different. So I wouldn't say we've gone for a specific genre that we wanted to play. It just sort of moulded really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And have you guys been to Bloodstock before as punters as well?
I've not, no.
Yeah, no.
I have.
Okay.
One of us. We have no idea what to expect. We're looking forward to it.
Yes.
Well, that's quite cool. It's always good when your first sort of visit to Bloodstock when you're actually playing it. But obviously, you'll have seen the lineup as well, and you're going to be playing alongside some absolutely fantastic bands. So, are there any that you're particularly looking forward to seeing over the weekend, or?
And Judas Priest. I can't wait to see Judas Priest.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
You know you're not going to clash with either of those two, so that's fine because they're on nice late at night. So yeah.
We're on Friday now, we know.
All right, okay, cool. So there you go. So you're actually supporting Judas Priest officially then?
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's all right. They'll be fine. They'll probably be a bit gutted that they won't be able to catch your set because they'll be getting all set up and everything.
They'll be safe in knowledge that we'll catch theirs, so I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah, cool. Excellent, cool. Well, cheers for chatting to us, guys. And we're going to hear some of your music now because I believe you've got a new EP coming out just before Bloodstock as well, yeah?
Yeah, we have our EP Torment coming out on the 28th of July. And the song you'll be hearing now is Pull the Trigger, the opening track from the EP.
Okay, cool. That's great. Cheers for talking to us, guys, and we'll see you at Bloodstock. And this is Pull the Trigger.
But ladies and gentlemen, The winner of the Northamptonshire Metal to the Masses 2018 is Garshcott.
Hey, what's up? This is Frank Bella from Anthrax, and you are listening to BloodstockRadio.com. Turn it up!
Yes, indeed. So that was two of our Metal to the Masses winners from the weekend. First, we had Imminent Annihilation winning in Oxford, and then Garshcott, who won at the Northamptonshire final at the Rushton Athletic Club in Northants. And I have to say, both of them were very much a little bit of me musically there. And if you enjoyed them, make sure you check them out on the New Blood stage at Bloodstock this year. And I believe you'll be able to find out the days that they are playing when they are officially announced this Tuesday. We will have another Metal to the Masses winner for you later in the show, and I will also tell you that we now have just one weekend and 3 finals left on the Metal to the Masses 2018 tour. So this weekend we have Bristol on Friday, London on Saturday and Birmingham on Sunday. So make sure you get to those if you can, and if you enjoyed my dear friends Courtesans on the Sophie stage at Bloodstock 2017, then you should definitely have a look at the London final, as they will be the special guest headliners there at the Dome in Tufnell Park on Saturday. And we will of course look forward to speaking to all 3 of the victorious bands in those regions in the very near future. Okay, you may recall that we have had a roving reporter for Bloodstock Radio this year in the form of Lena Metalina. We haven't heard from her for quite a while due to our Metal to the Masses coverage, but we've got a great interview coming up next with a band from Iraq called Dark Phantom. So let's have a listen to that right here on Bloodstock Radio.
The Big Interview.
Dark Phantom is a thrash metal band, and I am here with the lead singer of the band, Mir, and also Murad. Murad, tell us, what do you do in the band?
I am the founder and the guitarist.
And Murad, when did Dark Phantom start?
In Kirkuk in 2009. It was an idea with me and my cousin. We played guitars together, and we found the bases in university and the other members in social media. We decided to make a first metal band in our city in Kirkuk. Then we rehearsed and covered some musics, and our first show was in 2011.
And Mir, when did you join the band as lead singer?
I think it was 2014. I used to have a band in my city, Suleymania, and then we broke up. Like the band broke up, and I knew Murad. They were like also another metal band, so we had communication together. So I joined them. They asked me to join the band, and we decided on like to play something between thrash and death. So it was like thrash death metal. That's what we do now.
And you have an album out which is called Nation of Dogs. Can you tell us when the album came out and what the album is about?
Well, yeah, the album came out like in 2016. We worked on it for 2 years, like writing stuff, and we recorded everything on our own. We only had like a small, you could say a sound card to record with, and a computer, and that was it. We did everything on our own, and it's called Nation of Dogs. It's like, it's something that we wanted to say, like we had to say it. It's because of the problems in our countries and with the nations that we see, the stuff that we see that needs to be fixed in our country, and the problems that we have, and many things that are making a problem for this country, for the people, not for music and art and everything, for freedom, not to go like further.
You're talking about problems that you face in the region, meaning the Middle East and Iraq specifically. Some of the people listening to this interview might not know that there was a campaign a few years ago that actively targeted metalheads in this country. Murad, where were you at that time, and how did it affect you, and what happened in that metalhead kind of targeting campaign?
It happened, I think, in 2012 or 13. Really, we scared, and we closed our page because they killed many metalheads and, you know, the emo styles by the stone. I think there was an Islamic militia, but we don't know exactly who they are. We closed our page for a couple months, and we stopped to make shows in Kirkuk. And also before this, when we did our first concert in Kirkuk in 2011, in the Mosque will attacked us in their Friday prior, they say there's a Satanist band in Kirkuk. They play music with black shirts, and we decided to stop music in Kirkuk, and we made our first EP. It was not a metal, like a hard rock, with an old members, and after that we made couple shows in Erbil and Slimani because Kirkuk situation was a bad. There was an Al-Qaeda militia. They really were scared, because they killed anyone with long hair, with black shirt. They didn't say that as metalhead or not. They those people that attacked by the militia.
And you said you were playing shows in Kirkuk, and Kirkuk recently saw some attacks by ISIS, and obviously it's not a very safe area, but you said you played some shows. Is it possible to still play shows in Kirkuk today?
Also, Kirkuk situation is between Kurdistan region and Iraqi government. The situation also in trouble, but there is not a big metal scene there. Also, people when you play metal, they didn't know what that's music. Only they see the violence. They didn't read the lyrics. Only they say, "Oh, that's the Satan's work." They are Satan worship. When they see you with a long goatee with black shirt, they see something is different for them. I think it's needed time, because also there's no space, there's no stage in Kirkuk for playing music. If there was, maybe if we did some concerts, maybe people will accept. Also, there's a people doesn't accept. But I think it's needed time.
So right now what you're saying is it's very difficult, if not impossible, to play shows in Kirkuk. But I heard from following you on Facebook that you want to go and play in Syria. Can you tell us more about why you want to play in Syria and how you are trying to get the resources that you need in order to make this happen?
For playing in Kirkuk, it's not like impossible to do it. But the risk is just too much. Like, you might get exploded, like someone will explode himself during the show, or like you get fired or killed or something. Like, you can still do it, but do you want to die for it? That's the question.
We will be the reason. We will be the reason for when the innocent people killed. We're scared about ourselves and the fans too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really sad to think that staging a metal event might be a cause for making other people die, and that you're highly conscious of this, and you don't want to play shows because you don't want to put anyone else's life in danger. I don't think many bands around the world, to be honest, have that kind of problem. But tell me more.
So for Syria, it's not as safe as it's not safe either, but there has been multiple 3 or 4 metal shows in private, of course, that has been done safely. Nobody died, nobody got killed, so we're trying to go there, and there's a big festival in Syria, Metal United worldwide. And why Syria exactly? It's because if we came to Europe and played metal, it won't be such a big deal out of it, because Europe has seen metal for decades and stuff, and Europe doesn't need me to play metal for it, but Syria does. They're lacking something there, and we can give music to the country. Also, they do have great music there on their own, but we're just hoping that we can make a good impact on the scene there.
But if you were to play Europe, this is, of course, Bloodstock Radio, and there is a festival that I'm sure you all know about called Bloodstock Festival in the UK. Would that be an opportunity that you would turn down? If someone came to you and said, come play Bloodstock, how would you feel?
Of course we would not turn that down. I mean, Bloodstock has always been the big festival that it's been a dream. Of course, we're not going to turn it down. It will be a dream for us to play there. But it's just something that we still can like really hope for, so we won't get disappointed. But it would be a really like great chance, like a dream come true for us.
I'm going to ask you about your new plans, because I know you're working on a new album. But first of all, I thought maybe we should listen to something from your existing album, Nation of Dogs. Maybe we can play the title track first, Nation of Dogs. So I'm going to leave the listeners with this track from Dark Phantom's first album and come back to the conversation in a few minutes.
Rushing home, infecting among us, madness filling up the liberation of our minds. Handful of beggars, prostitutes of attention, thou shalt reach your infants, shall endure. Minority of true. This is the way it is, the way you are, the way you will be. A nation of dawn. Now are of our salvation and either believers. Make me rise by the souls of a fallen human show. Like birds willing in the sandstorm of thy heart. And claim give thou is granted unto our world. May you never endure. May thy breed descend to hate. May you never lose. May you be casted into the sea. Cast away thy mother word. You are the nemesis. Shall thy son never remain. Forever be gone. Nation of dawn. Thou art of our salvation and heathen believers. Make me rise by the souls of a fallen human show. Like birds wailing in the sandstorm of thy heart. And claim give thou is granted unto our world.
Hi, you're still with Lina for Bloodstock Radio, and I am in Iraq with Dark Phantom, and that track was Nation of Dogs from their first album of the same title. I was just talking to Mir and Murad from the band about their plans to play Syria. How are you planning to get the resources for this event?
I also contact with U Ground Studio. They liked our music, also they know us. And they said we can invite you and it's our pleasure, but you know the Syria economy is bad, they can't pay for travel, and also Iraqi economy is bad too, and we decide to make a campaign for people who want a donation and help us to make a tour in Syria.
Probably this is the first time that an event like this, will have happened in the Middle East. In general, bands from Iraq have, not been able to cross to Syria and play. I really hope you guys will be able to do this. I think it's highly inspiring that you're able to keep going despite all the problems that you have in Iraq. And I certainly hope that you will be with us in Europe at some point. Definitely the people listening to this interview can go and check you out on your Facebook page, Dark Phantom. This is the name of the band. It's a death thrash metal band. Will the new album sound a bit different from the one that we just heard a song from?
It will be as harsh and as brutal and as raw as this album, but only better.
Yeah, also we turned our style. We're gonna play on 7 strings guitars. The melodies and the riffs will be changed. There is something different with some oriental melodies. Yeah, we're excited to doing something better than Nation of Dogs.
Well, that would be absolutely amazing. And on that note, I think we could end this interview with listening to yet another song from Nation of Dogs. Which one would you choose?
I think Atomosphere will be good. What do you think, Ray?
Yes, I'm with you.
Why Atomosphere?
The melodies, there's a lot of melodies with Middle Eastern flavor, That'd be something different, I think.
Absolutely, I agree. So if you want a dose of death thrash metal with a Middle Eastern twist, Dark Phantom is the band to listen to. So this was Lina for Bloodstock Radio. Thank you so much for listening. I will leave you with Dark Phantom's Atomosphere.
To the people, control the minds of the weak, and power to the people. What's the world without escape? What's a life without freedom? Send me to fly with my wings. Show me what is your freedom. I'll teach you freedom. Great progress. Rewind. Leave all times behind. Logic here, a trash. Right is wrong, rock your man. Inhale the atmosphere. All hail the atmosphere. By the deed, darker the sign of the blood. Turn to see what unseen. What's a world without escape? What's a life without freedom? Send me to fly with my wings. Show me what is your freedom. I'll teach you freedom.
Hi, this is H from Acid Rain. You are listening to Bloodstock Radio, the podcast that just keeps on popping.
Okay, so that was Lena Metalina in conversation with the Iraqi metal band Dark Phantom. And again, I have to say, that was also definitely a little bit of me musically. Really enjoyed both of those tracks there, and I hope you did too. Thanks to Lena and the band for doing that for us. Okay, I told you earlier that we will be bringing you an interview and music from the third of our Metal to the Masses winners from last weekend, and that will indeed see us through until the end of this week's show. So I'll be back next week as we edge ever closer to Bloodstock Open Air Festival 2018. Do make sure you get your tickets soon, folks, as we are going to sell out, and we wouldn't want you to be missing out on fantastic bands like this one. They are called Sertraline. They won the Metal to the Masses Lincolnshire final on Saturday night, as judged by Mr. Rob Bannister, and we're going to leave you with them tonight. My name is Squatter, and we'll see you next time on Bloodstock Radio.
And now on Bloodstock Radio, a Metal to the Masses winners interview.
Okay, next up on Bloodstock Radio, we are talking to the next of our Metal to the Masses winners, and up in Lincolnshire, the winners up there were Sertraline. How are you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. Yeah, good. Very good, thanks.
Excellent. So yes, congratulations. You're going to be playing at Bloodstock. Has it sunk in yet, or are you still all a little bit dazed from it all?
I'm still quite dazed. It definitely hasn't sunk in yet. It's all been a bit of a blur, really.
Yeah, it was just crazy because I think because the competition was so tight, every single band played an absolute blinder of a set. So we were really sort of, doubting ourselves and thinking, not sure which way this is going to go, because it could have been anyone's game really. But yeah, we were just so stunned and obviously really happy. And yeah, we're just really excited now, I think.
Cool.
I couldn't believe our name got called out. I really couldn't believe it. And when he said our name, I was in disbelief. I didn't even react. Everyone else was jumping up and down. I was just kind of staring into space.
But obviously, most bands are hopefully thinking, oh, we've done all right and we're in with a bit of a shout. But you do get a variety of different reactions to it. And some just go absolutely mental, lose themselves in the moment. That's why we tried to get people to video them and to try to record them, because most people can't actually remember what they were doing at the time that they actually got their name called out. So always good to reminisce on things like that. Okay, so I'm going to rewind you back now to a chat that I had with you, Lizzie, in September last year on Facebook, just after last year's festival. And I think you added me on Facebook when you saw the Dave Mustaine interview, I think it was, or something like that. And you said you told me you'd never been to Bloodstock. And I said, well, maybe you should try Metal to the Masses. And I've just looked it up. That's exactly what I said. And we had a bit of a chat about it. And then you messaged me back in November and said, yeah, we're going to give it a go. So, yes, I'm not claiming any credit for you actually getting there whatsoever, but I'm just glad that it worked out.
Yeah, well, me too. We did actually enter 3 years ago, I think it was. We had a different lineup and the band was very different back then. And we, I think we got to the quarterfinals in, I think it was Crewe, because that's where we're similar to where we were living at the time. And I think we've just sort of really taken the time to, find our own sort of style and become really tight-knit as a band. And then we sort of decided to, give it another go this year. And luckily it's worked out. So, yeah, and thanks for all the help and advice, because we weren't sure whether it was going to be our thing, like a battle of the bands. But, yeah, you definitely persuaded me to give it a go, so thank you.
Well, the thing is that I've been covering Metal to the Mass. I've heard so many bands speaking so well about it that all I have to do is basically just replicate what they tell me, because I've never been in a band. I'm not that. I only see it from our side of things, and I see the way that the bands interact with each other and that. And I think, as I say, I've just looked at the conversation, and it was when I was saying about how it's it's not as I've heard stories that in the past it was a little bit more cutthroat and it was a little bit more, but I hope that you found this year that it is more of a bonding of the bands and it's a more sort of supportive environment. Yeah,
definitely. Like we've made so many friends on the gigs that we've done for Metal to the Masses. We've made friends with so many bands and met so many new people. It's just been so much fun, and everyone's been so lovely, and yeah, we just had the best time, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Very good.
Cool. So obviously you had a little bit of a sort of hiccup along the way, because I believe you first entered in Selby, and of course the venue, literally called the venue, actually ended up closing down. So we had to cancel the Metal to the Masses in that region. So another venue goes by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's really sad. We were gutted because the venues in Selby had an amazing set up, like the stage was brilliant. It was a really cool place, and we did really enjoy playing the first heat there. I guess it's just sad that, I don't know, people just didn't go, I guess, and they weren't making enough money to keep it running.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what we always sort of encourage things, because Metal to the Masses isn't just about the bands and things like that. The idea is to keep venues going, it's to keep promoters busy, and to, you know, because like you say, use them or lose them. That's what they always say about these venues. So the idea is that we can hopefully get more metal gigs going on in these places and hopefully keep them going. So we've seen more than enough going under over the last few years and that lot. So hopefully we can, through the Metal to the Masses initiative, we can sort of try and keep a few more going.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the beautiful things about Metal to the Masses, is that, as you said, it's not just about the bands, it's about the whole sort of, I suppose, underground scene and finding new talent and giving them the exposure.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's that's what Simon always describes it as, Bloodstock's commitment to the grassroots and to sort of make sure that happens. And the thing is, like I say, I've only been going to Bloodstock since 2013, and I can still remember that first year that I saw the likes of Getica and One for Sorrow and several bands that year in the New Blood tent. Just from sort of wandering in as a punter back then. But over the years, especially like 2015, I can remember I saw every single Metal to the Masses winner that year. We had 22 of them that year, and I went and watched every single one of them, and the standard just goes up and up and up every year.
Yeah, the talent that's out there is unbelievable.
Personal favourite of ours to win, if we didn't win, a band called Liberate May. We thought they were exceptional, and we'd like to work with them quite soon if we can.
Well, that's part of it as well, isn't it? You obviously get the network, and you find other bands to gig with as well, and you can sort of, even if you're not geographically close to each other, you can at least sort of gig share and sort of move around a little bit and that. Because obviously you've moved up to the Lincolnshire heats, which were up in Scunthorpe. So Mike from Lizard King Promotions obviously saw that the Selby thing was cancelled and welcomed you and let you switch across, which was a good thing to do.
We're so grateful for that, because obviously if you hadn't done that, then we wouldn't be where we are and talking to you now. So yeah, massively grateful to him.
Yeah. Okay. So let's rewind a little bit and talk about your band itself. So tell us a little bit about how long you guys have been going for, what type of music you play, and stuff like that.
Me and Endo and two other early members were in a band previously. We were in there for a few years. The band itself were around for closer to 10 years. But the singer left sort of all of a sudden, and the four of us who were left didn't want to quit what we were doing. So we thought, well, we can use this as an opportunity to start again, brand new music, brand new name, brand new everything. And our management at the time was behind the idea. So instead of being really sad that a project we've been working on for the past few years had ended, we left the room really happy that we'd thought of something else to do. And we started with recording time already booked, and several, I think we had some gigs already booked at the time. So credit where credit's due, our old manager did us quite well in the early days. And unfortunately, our other guitarist and drummer, they sort of reached the end of their road with us. And we found Tom and Si eventually, and we've never been this tight musically or in terms of friendships. Everything's really smooth for us at the moment. And the music's getting better and better all the time. Getting heavier, which I think we all like.
So I think one of the major things that we've been spending a lot of time working on and rehearsing is the overall performance that we do at live shows. Because our kind of previous shows, we were just standard, bass drums, two guitars, vocalist, and now we've implemented lights. We've implemented this backing track that we use to kind of gel the set together. And we spent quite a while working on the choreography of how things move along and how our set performs. So it's really been a game changer for us for this past year. Those kind of things that I think sometimes can be a bit overlooked, and I think we've really worked hard to nail those things down. Yeah. And looking back on it, I think it's a really good idea that we did.
Time well spent.
Proof of the pudding is in the eating, obviously, and that's obviously gone a long way, because that's what the Metal to the Masses judges are looking for. They're looking for festival-ready bands. So obviously, as Metal to the Masses winners, that's what you are now. So that hard work has clearly paid off, because that is exactly what they will have been looking for.
Well, I guess it's quite flattering to know that what we've done has suited that.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I think you had Rob Bannister up there at the weekend, didn't you? And judging that one. So I was with Rob at Nottingham last weekend for the final there, and he pays a lot of attention to detail. He's been with Bloodstock since year one. He's been involved right the way since the beginning of the festival, so he has seen a lot of bands going through, and he's judged a lot of Metal to the Masses finals, and obviously Simon's done a lot of them as well. So they really do know what they're doing, and and that's if you go to the New Blood stage at Bloodstock any year that you choose to go, then you will see that it really is the best of the best that we've got on that stage over the weekend.
It's a pleasure to be put with that, you know.
Well, you've earned it, and you'll be there. So, are there any other bands that you guys are looking forward to seeing over the weekend at Bloodstock as well, and any that you're particularly hoping not to clash with?
Vola!
Vola!
Absolutely Vola.
100-year-old man.
But yeah, Vola, we got a chance to play with those. It'll be nearly a year ago exactly when we do play Bloodstock. We got the chance to play with Vola down in Basingstoke last August, but two or three of us, I guess it was quite an exciting thing because we've been a fan of that band for maybe a year or 2 years before that, and it was we turned into little girls as soon as we met them. It was,
that's what music's all about. That's what it's all about. So
yeah.
You get that passion for it, and that happens at all sort of levels. See, because what's going to happen now is, of course, you guys are going to play Bloodstock, and then in a few years' time, you're going to have people getting excited like little girls for meeting you guys. So it'll all scale up. See. Well. Excellent. Well, that's going to be all good fun. So, I hope you have a fantastic weekend there. So, we'll hear some of your music. I'll just give you one last chance to sort of sell yourselves to our Bloodstock listeners. So why should our listeners take some time out of their weekend and go and check out your set on the New Blood stage? What can they expect from your show?
Power, energy, thrill.
It won't be what you expect.
No, be prepared to be surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
Cool. All right. Well, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Congratulations on making it, and I'll leave it to one of you guys to just introduce your song. So go for that.
Guys, this is our title track, Guilty, and it's riff-tastic, as Hendo described.
Not before we've crossed the line. Want to push
the fans, for the fans. Bloodstock Radio.